Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Mythic Rick 2000, who is going to be the Mythic Trials reward for the Skybound X Allegiance. As we can see on the right hand side, visually he is very Rick 2000. We have seen him on the road maps already, so we have got an idea of how he looks, kind of like Cape Crusader-ish. He's got the laser sword as well. This is the first edition, so it will look slightly different than the non-first edition. He has got a gold gauntlet. He has got a particular color on that laser sword. And we'll check out the non-first edition one in just a second. And on the left-hand side, you can see he's also battling Governor. And you can see the gold gauntlet in a bit more detail here. But on the non-first edition version, you can see on the right-hand side, no longer got the gold gauntlet. No longer got the trim on his kit. And like his visuals on his bodysuit. On the left-hand side, instead of battling Governor, he's battling Negan. So there is quite a big difference in the visuals. They've gone all out in terms of the first edition art on this one. But we will continue the preview of the first edition version because why not? We'll see the stats, and as a grade 5 limit broken character at level 640, he has got 13,502 attack, 15,752 defense, and 15,752 HP. He is a strong character. He is considered a tank, pretty tanky stats, so kind of in line there. A mythic character, of course, and he is part of the Skybound X Allegiance. If we check out his adrenaline rush, it is called Lead by Example. It is a 75 AP cost rush, so quite slow. This character gets 100% defense for 2 turns and heals by 100% of their max HP. One other teammate gets 20 AP. So pretty basic in terms of very self-sustained. Keep this guy alive, keep this guy as tanky as possible. And there's a little boost in there. 20 flat AP is quite strong. For some characters, that's going to be over 30% of their AP, because a lot of defense team characters have got 55 AP. Some have even got as low as 48. So this could be a huge boost to some characters for sure. And it will almost be a guaranteed rush either that turn, if he rushes first, or the next turn for that character if they, for instance, are on 0 AP. Okay, so we're on an attack team here, and it's not going to be that great on attack, but this is just to show you because obviously I have control of when it happens and so on and so forth. We've got the rush up, and as you can see, Harper right here has got the highest amount of AP out of the characters that don't have their rush. So she should get a flat boost of the 20 AP. She should go up to 54 AP. And it will have Rick just heal up a little bit. I think he's been hit a little bit. But also, he'll basically give himself 100% defense. So he'll take a lot less damage. On the defense team, this is going to be extremely, extremely powerful, of course. It's only a self-buff, but we'll see how this comes in. We'll see the rush comes out. And you can see it's pretty basic. Just 20 AP to Harper. And he's got 100% defense for 2 turns. It's going to happen for the current attacks. So the current attacks will come in. He'll take less damage because of it. And then it will happen for the next turn as well. So it is actually pretty decent in terms of how long it lasts. It lasts for 2 potential turns. And generally there's going to be signature moves or rushes in those 2 turns. And whether he's on attack or defense, if this guy rushes first and gives someone the AP for their rush, you know, I could have got a rush on Harper just because of this bonus. I do also have Glenn in that team in particular, so potentially could give a particular character 40 AP in a single turn because of, you know, Glenn's passives and stuff on top. So this definitely stacks with other characters' passives and signature moves and rushes if they give any AP bonuses. So potential, a lot of strength there in terms of like AP gain. If we look at the upgrades, you can see at grade 2, it gets a 50% defense boost. So originally it will be 50%, which is still reasonable, but you're going to get this character to grade 2. That's only going to require silvers. At grade 4, one other teammate gets 20 AP. Quite important. That's actually one of the most powerful parts of the rush. But at grade 5, where you will need to have that second gold mythic, you know, the first edition version the first time around, or potentially have to wait a very long time maybe for the second time it comes around, you'll get 50% healing bonus. Again, pretty good, pretty big boost. It goes from 50% healing to 100% healing. So originally it's like 50% healing and 50% defense, and that's it. Whereas once it's upgraded, it actually gets pretty buffed out, as you can see, and it becomes more of a support rush with that 20 AP, of course. Now, as always, Rick 2000 will have a signature move. It is called Enduring Spirit. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 2 and a cooldown of 3 turns. It has got unlimited usage, and it is revive a teammate with 75% of their max HP. Pretty straightforward. On a defense team, it means it will always happen when there is a character available to be revived. It's not where it's attached to something else. For instance, like revive a teammate with 75% of max HP, and taunt an enemy. It would sometimes just do it to taunt an enemy. You remember this from the 6-star era. I believe there was a Sandy who did this from League Store, which was quite frustrating. The amount of uses this has got is insane. Obviously, generally these would be quite low limited to like 3 or 4, just because this is very powerful. It can take a lot to get past these characters. And yeah, the revive's always going to come in. So Daze is going to be important on a character, you know, obviously to block off their signature move. Otherwise, Rick is going to kind of run rampant on a defense team. You know, he's going to just, as much as he's got a very, very slow rush, he's not a character you're not going to want to rush too often. So stat-heavy character is probably the way to go. It's going to be hard to take him down. And that is a huge revive. 75% max HP. We're talking about characters with 50k HP on defense teams. So they're going to be revived in with like, I don't know, what's that, 37,500 HP, you know, just like in general. And that's huge amounts of HP. And then it only takes one proc of a fast healing weapon just to straight up to 100%. So it's going to be a big issue if the revives do get rolling on Rick, and they definitely can. Okay, so I'm attacking, and something terrible has happened, guys. Some of my characters have been taken out, but fortunately, Rick has got a revive, like I said. And if we pick someone up, we just have to swipe left to get that signature move to work. We just a wave of the wand, we do pick up Glenn, and as you can see, he's at 75% HP. In his case, it'd be 9,925, but it's based on your mods, it is based on your lieutenant system, it's based on all the HP put together, and it'll just go up to 75% of that red bar, as you can see there. Very powerful. It will happen always on a defense team, like I said, when there is a revivable character. If someone's downed but they're decapped, the signature move won't be used because there's a down character, and the AI doesn't realize. The AI knows when there's a character that's revivable, and it will happen instantly. It's very, very powerful, especially, like I said, because there's no attached control. There's nothing attached to it. It's only going to happen when there's a revivable character on the floor. Now, there are some upgrades on the signature move, of course. At grade 3, you can see that there is a 25% boost in the HP. So originally it's going to be 25%, and then it will get boosted up to 50% HP when revived. And then at limit break 1, there's another 25% revived HP. That's actually one of the strongest limit breaks that I've seen in terms of just like how well it works with the kit and how powerful it is and how useful it is basically for the character. You will not be able to get the limit broken character the first time round, but if you do get the first edition the first time round, the next time the Mythic Trials comes around for Skybound X, you will be able to limit break the character and obviously get the extra 25% HP up. I still think 50% is nuts. Like I said, 50 to 60k HP on a defense team is not unusual, and that means, you know, 25 to 30,000 revived HP on a 50% HP on the revive. That is going to be brutal on particular characters, especially if that character, for instance, has a signature move. Do remember that while the characters can't rush because they lose AP when they're revived, they can just do their signature move straight away, and that signature move could potentially be a heal. It could potentially be a revive itself. This is the first signature move revive, I think. Oh no, we've got Erica, so potentially Rick could pick up Erica, and then Erica could pick up too. Like, there is going to be some potential like nuts scenarios that pop along. And very infuriating when that happens. The revive train with signature moves is still possible. It's just not possible as easily with rushes. So far, quite a powerful character. Again, most of his kit is quite defense heavy. We'll see what his passives bring to the table in terms of his usability potentially on attack. Now, he is a tank, so he will get strength, and that'll be strength 1 and 2 added up to 40% critical hit resistance, which is actually pretty powerful. It stops things like Rampage, it stops things like Collateral, it stops potential like multi-hit characters wrecking too hard. This is obviously really good. Weight of the Sword, at the beginning of each wave, this character gets bonus 40% HP. This is a lot of bonus HP for sure. It basically just improves his survivability of the first turn. Now, once you get through that, you can of course get through that without actually hitting him, because you could potentially like bleed burn. But once you get through that, you're onto his normal HP. That will never proc again in the same raid fight. It would only proc again if, for instance, you're on like multi-wave, and that's going to be things like, let's think, Conquest or roadmaps and stuff like that, where it has multiple waves, and then you get into every single wave it goes through, he'll get 40% bonus HP. Survival Road, it will work the same way, but in raids, it will just be the first turn, and that's it. Now, the next one is called Parry. When attacked, reduce the damage by 20%. This is obviously great. This is going to play into his tank role quite a bit. He's just really, really good. He's going to have massive reduction no matter what, and this is just added reduction on top. He's going to take barely any damage. Defense down is going to be crucial to take out this character. Infection, you know, the big stuff to take down the big tanks. This guy's probably one of the only ways to take out this guy is that sort of way. I think percentage damage, as much as I think it's fallen off in general, is going to be actually brutal to attack Rick 2000 with. If we see the last one, very powerful one here, it's called Provoke. When this character starts their turn, 30% chance to taunt one enemy for one turn. This is kind of unreal in terms of its power. Obviously, in the first 2 turns, potentially against like actually, it might only be the first 1 turn. I think it'll be the first 2 turns against a Negan lead. You can sort of like avoid this. But if he's in a team with like Morgan, then Morgan can cleanse 3 characters of their focus. Or if he's in a team with Uncle Sam, obviously Uncle Sam can just fully cleanse the entire team. So there are obviously inbuilt counters. He's got a bit of synergy with those. But that last passive is extremely powerful without doing anything. Like, it's just going to happen on the passive every now and again. That's like 1 every 3 turns. And if it happens to that crucial character, what if you're like, your revive's just about to pop off, he's just about to pick up 1 or 2 characters on your attack team, and then boom, gets taunted, no taunt resist, no focus, and that's it. That's it for you, unfortunately. Now what we'll do is we're going to defend on all of my characters just to see if the taunt can proc. It's going to be pretty basic. It should just light up in green when it does actually happen. Let's have a little good see where we get a taunt in. It doesn't look like we're getting a taunt in. Being pretty unfortunate at the moment. 1 in 3 chance. We're going to have to absorb some of these rushes. Are we going to be able to absorb the damage? Yes, not much damage there. There we go. Enemy taunted. Who do we get? We got her. Now, obviously, if we would have got the person with the rush, that would have been ideal. But it's just kind of random. On a defense team, it's going to be frustrating. On an attack team, maybe you just see it as a little bonus. It's going to control someone on the defense team. It's going to be nice for Conquest, for instance. It will just randomly control someone. It could potentially control someone off turn 1, too, because it's when this character starts their turn. And that means it should happen off turn 1, I'm sure. And it could happen like 5 turns in a row. You know, it could not happen at all in a fight. That's kind of how this passive is going to work. When it happens, it is going to be powerful, though. I don't see that much taunt resistance at the moment. Kind of like in that bleed meta right now, so like everything's anti-bleed. But yeah, so if this goes off, it's going to be pretty powerful. And like I said, there's already characters on defense teams at least that are going to make focus less of an issue. So if we look at his passive skill upgrades, you can see that Way of the Sword, at the beginning of each wave, this character gets 20% bonus HP. That's the first part of it, is at grade 1. Then Strength 1 is at grade 2. Way of the Sword Part 2 is at grade 3. It's like a movie. Way of the Sword Part 2. And then grade 4, we've got Parry. This is the reduced damage. Provoke at grade 5. And then Strength 2 at Limit Break. So that's where the upgrades are. You can see that some of these actually only require 15 upgrades. For instance, Provoke only requires 15 upgrades. And that's one of the more powerful passives here. So you don't have to spend as many military supplies to get that maxed out. That's kind of nice. For every 1 point, it looks like 2% chance. So very powerful passives for sure. I think all of these are going to be just enhancing his potential to survive. Now, of course, you've seen it. He has got a specialist skill. It is command. You know how this works. Extremely powerful. Probably one of the most powerful specialist skills in the game. And it is going to be on Rick 2000 here. When this character defends, the previous ally to take an action this turn will receive a bonus action. That ally will be unable to act the next turn. Now, on an attack team, you have full control of when you want to do this. I have, for instance, commanded someone who hasn't got their rush just to get in another basic attack to finish someone off. You know, I've commanded a decap just to finish someone off. Or I've commanded someone rampage just to get maybe a big attack in. This is really powerful in arenas because it obviously speeds up your team in arenas. It's really powerful on attack, but it's also really powerful on defense. On defense, it does work slightly different. You shouldn't ever have a character who gets commanded to do a basic attack. The only time I've ever seen a character get commanded on a defense team is where they attack, they would have their rush for the next turn, and Rick just says, hey, I can command you, you can do that right now, mate. And he does that. And that's basically what's going to happen instead. Okay, so on attack, and you can see I've taken Ash, who has got a 20% AP to self-weapon. There is an 8% weapon in the team as well, that is on Glenn. And what I'll do is I'll do an attack with Glenn, and if he crits, the AP should go to Ash. And then Ash, if she does a basic attack, will get her rush. And this is turn 1. and then I can just rush with Ashe turn 1, and I could potentially get 2 big hits off. I could have potentially, you know, focused Doc off turn 1 and just decapped him instantly. There's very big options here. The downside of Command, but it isn't really that big a downside, is I'll finish my attack. I'll do a basic attack here, and you'll see when it gets to the next turn, it will be Ashe's turn again, but she won't have her turn. She's effectively taken her next turn a turn early, which is generally always worth doing when someone's got their rush available. Like 99% of the time it's worth doing, just because you're going to do it anyway. But if you give the defense time to have a turn themselves, fast healing will come in, signature moves that can buff defense will come in. You know the situation on that turn. On a defense team, like I said, if someone's got their rush, it will just, you know, one of the characters that gets their rush will just automatically be commanded. So that's Command, and I think, like I said, a lot of you know how it works. It is definitely one of the best on attack and defense specialist skills. Like, I'd say without a doubt, top 5 in terms of, like, if I've got a 5-man squad and I could pick 5 specialist skills, Command is going to be in my defense team, Command is going to be in my attack, and pretty much that's what's going to happen soon. Command's going to be in all those defense teams, well, some of those defense teams, and Command's going to be in some of those attack teams as well. Now, so far, Rick has got a lot of power, and he has got even more power on his weapon. Now, I am showing you the character that is not the first edition. The reason I'm doing that is because I 5-starred the weapon on the first edition just to get AP bonuses, just to get those rushes off quicker. This is just to show you that off base, it is a 4-star weapon. I had to upgrade it to 5-star myself on my first edition, just so you know. So we'll switch back to the first edition, just so you realize. And as you can see back on the first edition, I upgraded it to 5-star because it was originally 4-star. We'll check out what the weapon has to offer though. 35% defense, 35% HP, and the upgraded version of AP Drain, where it does minus 50 AP to the enemy. This is a strong upgrade, so it is a normal upgrade for this character, but the stats on this weapon as a 4-star weapon is nuts. I think there isn't anyone who's even slightly comparable. There were a couple of Shivas that existed, I think, that had like 30% attack and 30% defense and no 3rd slot. So you could choose whether you wanted to make them offensive or defensive. I really like that idea, but this is kind of nuts because as a 4-star weapon, you just upgrade like HP to 50%, and then you make it a 5-star weapon. You put whatever you want in that 4 slot. It could be legitimately anything. You could do the minus 50% damage from crit, and even if you do take crit damage, which is not going to happen too often because he's a tank, you would reduce that damage. Or you could potentially have it so, you know, he has a healing, something heals him in there. Because he's not going to be rushing very often, he's always going to be sitting with AP. There is one that heals him based on his HP, and that would counter the infection issue that he's going to have. And then you just increase that defense again, or HP, you know, whatever one you want. You could potentially come out with a weapon that has 35% defense, 60% HP, the minus 50 AP, and then like minus 50% crit damage taken. Very, very tanky weapon. 60, I've never seen over 50. I think I've seen 55% on like Arav. That was the best I ever saw. 60% is kind of nuts. I wonder if it goes from dark blue to like some other color, or just like the game just has a little marker next to it. What the hell is this? So this was Rick 2000, and this is the first edition Skybound X Mythic Trials character. And to get your hands on this guy as a first edition, you will need 5 grade 5 Skybound X characters. If you want to get just one of him from his Mythic Trials, you need 5 grade 4 or higher. For instance, you could have 4 grade 5s and 1 grade 4, and you'll be able to get just one normal Rick. Even one Rick is going to be reasonable. His special skill is, while the rest of his kit is kind of nuts, his special skill is easily the most powerful part of his kit. It's as strange as that sounds. The rest of his kit is just cool and does some crazy stuff. His weapon's really, really powerful, but that special skill is what changes this character in just from being a very tanky character on a defense team to a vital part of what's going to probably be like the meta for a very long time. So commands are extremely important, as you all know. Do give me your thoughts on Rick. Do give me your thoughts on him being a Mythic Trials character. This character, I have to say, is going to go to people who have a lot of power, because obviously to get this character you're having to spend a lot of money, and in my opinion, those are the people that don't need extra power. Command adds such a high level of power, it's crazy. So I do hope there is going to be some balance that comes out in the very near future when it comes to people who don't spend and people who do, because it's this basically a command widens the gap so drastically, and it is already pretty wide right now. Fingers crossed for the future, guys. Big fingers crossed. But this is Rick 2000. Do give me your thoughts in the comments down below. I want to thank you very much for tuning into my video. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.